Okay, so, hey, here we are. It's 40 years. Maranatha's been around for 40 years. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
40 years. That is mind-boggling. It's just crazy. I always think of it, and we've always talked about, God called Maranatha into existence.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, the Lord did it.
The Lord did.
We were just obedient.
So, how many other Pentecostal churches tried to start, and they're not around today? Do you remember?
Yeah, I believe that, and it was pretty hot around. I mean, you know, boy, Jesus was talking about every place, and everybody wanted to do something. See,
How many churches?
but there was 17. I remember that number
17 churches.
at one time.
In 11 years, I remember, something like that. In the first 11 or 7
Yeah.
years, 17
A lot of
independent
churches.
Assembly God churches tried
Yeah.
to start, and it failed. And I know that neither you or I are that terribly talented. And the fact that Maranatha is still here,
That's like when he come up to
he
me.
called it into existence.
One day he says to me, you know, I really think the Lord wants me to start a church. I said, what? I says, no, we are not starting a church. Michael, you were hired. You were going to be hired down in
Bauxite, Arkansas.
Bauxite, Arkansas.
Told Brother Porting on a Friday.
Oh.
Him resign.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? I was like, I don't know. I just really felt like, in obedience to God, I needed to resign. Saturday morning, the phone rang from Bauxite, Arkansas. It's Pastor Dwayne Brumley. We had met a year earlier.
Yeah.
And he called me up and he says, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, well, of course I do. He said, well, hey, we'd like to have you come down here to be our assistant pastor in Arkansas. And I'm like, are you kidding me? In faith, I heard God. I resigned. We get this call, but I did the spiritual thing. Well, let me pray about it and I'll get back to you. I hung up. I was so excited. I'm like, honey, we did it, man. This is great. So exciting. So it was then Sunday that we go over to your house for dinner afterwards. And Dad says, hey, I got some really exciting news to tell you. I said, no, Dad, I got something really exciting to tell you. And we went back and forth. Finally, Dad, so what is it? He says, I think we're supposed to start church at Forest Lake. And I was like, what do you mean, we? Do you have a mouse in your pocket? I don't want to do that.
So, Brother Free Hyatt and
Herman
Rohde, our superintendent, come up here to see me.
We had a meeting, and I remember you're all thinking, oh, it's going to take 4 or 5 years before he gets to be a minister. You know, he's got to go to school, he's got to get educated. So I was sitting there pretty comfortable till they said that we're going to license you. And I said, you're going to what?
Yeah, and I remember in those early days, I mean, it was kind of funny. You would preach one Sunday, I'd lead worship, and the next one you'd lead worship, and then I'd preach.
You'd preach.
And we did that for quite a while. The purpose of the church hasn't changed. We're still here, breaking stereotypes, loving people for Jesus, helping everybody, wherever you are, white collar, blue collar, no collar, to reach people for Jesus Christ. So that's really cool.
The thing that has impressed me and still does, because I remember back as a young kid going to church and stuff, the church was always against everything. And I got to thinking, what we're doing, and we're chasing all these people away from church. We're supposed to be loving them and inviting them into church. So that was always my big motivation. Sinners, is what Jesus ministered to. And I was a sinner, and he come and saved me, and I just wanted to share that good news.
It's good news.
It still is good news.
It still is good news.